So I have two products of the day to talk to you about before we get into all the language arts options you have available to you. The first one is High Five magazine. I think it is great. I just love High Five magazine up to age 5, but even my 6-year-old doesn't mind it. So it's got, start off with a poem, then it goes on to a little, a comic, and it goes into a story with text and indie. So usually they help problem solve some way or use some imagination. It has a puzzle, Valentine's Day. Now you can get these free on the Libby app from your library. All right, now the second product I'm going to talk to you about is going to make everything cheaper in your homeschool. I have an Eco Tank. I have the Eco Tank. It was like $200 and it's a printer, but they're called Eco Tanks. And the way they print is you can get 7,800 color pages for $40 of ink. So I have the Epson. Now I'll put the model that I have down. It's an older model that I just bought not too long ago, a couple months ago. So even though it's an older model, all that means is you save money, and what the newer models do is they can not necessarily print faster or better, but they can do things like print on the back side and things like that. So, and you're looking at, it will take about, it does 10 pages a minute. So if you think about that, that's 100 pages in 10 minutes. So it's not too bad. The fact that the ink is so inexpensive, again, it's got 4 different cartridges that you fill up and it's $10 a cartridge. So anytime you run out, it's $10 for a sizable amount of ink to replace it. Okay, so today we're gonna cover language arts for, like I said, kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2. It could even be pre-kindergarten. It's whenever your child is ready. I'm gonna separate it into, so there's curriculums that cover all of the topics, and then there's some that separate it into, I guess you could call it specialties. So we're gonna go into handwriting, we're gonna go into vocab and literacy, we're gonna go into spelling and reading. I believe those are the areas. First up, we have, let's talk about handwriting. So you can do free handwriting where I'll attach a kindergarten video and I show you the free kind of handwriting, if you will. It's just printing letters. Generally, that's the first step in handwriting, is learning how to print the letters. Okay, so you can, what I'm saying is that you can print off a lot of free stuff. And then you can do copy work, which is also free, copy work is great because kids can learn how sentences are meant to be structured by copying perfect examples of sentences. So they're not worrying about where periods go, where commas go. They're just copying the sentence structure and learning all of that as to how it goes. So the third thing you can do is, this is really great. I just love it. It is Handwriting Without Tears, okay? So you're looking at $12 each book, and this book is the first one. Now there's no teacher's manual with this, which at first I was like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. And then once I opened it and started reading through it, I realized that they'll give you tiny prompts. So there's little bits of prompts. So paper placement and pencil skills. All right, so this is how it starts off. So, and it says, this is your teacher demonstrates, child copies below. So teacher demonstrates, I assume you write out there what the child's name is, and they demonstrate. Now I think, did we just pass how they learn how to write? No, maybe that's the next page. So then the next page, so this is the frog, and the frog is going to teach you how to do these capital letters. All right, so we're starting off with capital letters here. So this is printing. Now, why is printing good? Because part of me was like, do we still need to teach printing? But the reason printing is still good, besides the fact that you've got to fill out doctor's forms sometimes, or maybe list taking, but even then you can use, of course you don't necessarily have to do that, right? Nowadays you can just use an app on your phone. But it does, scientists don't know why, but it does help with memory, and it helps kids slow down and organize words and organize their thoughts as well. So look at this H here. All right, so it shows you 1, 2, and 3. So again, you can find free stuff online, but for $12, I mean, you're not, hard to beat that. Okay, so why else? Well, it boosts neuroactivity associated with creativity. Handwriting does. All right, so after we get, so as you can see, and then you start P, put like jet, so some copy work, if you will. And your job as the parents to check the sentence. Now this is the next one up. So this one, as you'll see, so it does a review. And it's got, so it does, again, review, and then you're going on to copy the C. C is for computer, O is for octopus. So this is like the next level up. And really, I think I only saw 2 levels. Again, still $12.95 for this book. You don't need an additional book. I mean, you don't need anything outside of this. So just more practice for handwriting without tears, you know? So I think that's pretty cool. And it comes with, it sent me these. I'm not sure what they're for. They're just stickers. I guess you just put them somewhere, so, you know, stick them somewhere just as a reminder for children. Okay, so let's talk about what we have next. So first of all, for spelling, teaching kids spelling. Now, if anyone could please tell me in the comments, because I honestly don't know why we teach spelling. Like, why do you teach spelling? Like, what I mean is, don't you learn it as you read? Like, I guess not. I guess not. I don't know. I don't know. 3 children, and all of a sudden I'm like, why are we teaching spelling? For spelling, there's Spell Quiz. Spell Quiz is very interesting. Spell Quiz is $14 a month, but you get a 2-week free trial. And what it is it's basically, it just quizzes yourself. So it's kind of cool, but it's not easy. So what I mean by that is, like the kindergarten one, the sight words one, for example, you hit play and then you type in the answers. Well, this first sentence I got for the kindergarten level was, I will go down with him. And then you're supposed to type that out. Yeah, that's not happening. But if you're older, so say you have, you know, a 3-year-old, not 3-year-old, a grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, and they want the challenge of it because it's a challenge yourself type of thing. And then you can see, you know, you level up, you do different things like that. But it's very simple in the sense that it feeds you words and sentences, and you type it out and it tells you how many you got correct. And so, but it's very cool. So if you know, it's something to consider. And it has spelling bees and stuff as well. So I definitely think that's very neat. So the next is, now this is what we bought, but I think I'm gonna switch to Spelling UC. Let me pull it over in the light. Oh, before we do that, look at this book. Okay, so before we get into all about spelling and a couple different spelling options, let's talk about Hurdle. So this is by Miss Wordsmith, okay? And it's kind of a word a day, but only for a few months out of the year. It's like traditional school months. So hurdle, to rush or move very quickly, like a big asteroid plunging towards Earth. But what's cool about this is flip it over. And it's, okay, so right here, it's got the Chronicles of Narnia, using how they used that. So a real life example is how it was used in a book. And then it's got synonyms, rush, plunge, charge, and then it's got used in 3.8% of stories. And there's the definition again. And this is word pairs, the asteroid hurdle, the train hurdle, the spaceship hurdle. So giving you kind of an example. And this is tell a story. Arnie had no idea that there was an asteroid hurtling towards him. So it's kind of cool what it has. And then, so a bunch of different words, flabby, exasperate. Now they're kind of pricey. I find it kind of pricey, but I bought this used on Amazon for, I want to say $25, but so it's a little pricey. Oh, I wanted to show you. All right, let's talk all about spelling. All about spelling. Honestly, I think I'm going to switch to, I think I'm going to switch to Spelling UC. I just like the way it does. It's all personal preference. So it's completely personal preference, and we use All About Reading. So it is, again, personal preference. So Now, if you get one of these boxes, you get one box will hold your family. It'll hold like 3 kids worth of stuff. And each one, you get the cards for each child. So phonogram cards that you're going to master, phonogram cards that, now just so you know, a phonogram is a letter or a couple letters, a few letters that make a sound. Okay, so that's a phonogram. So All About Spelling doesn't come with much, not like the All About Reading. It doesn't come with much. Now it has, of course, a phonogram sheet, because the first step when you get the phonogram is you're going to test your child. It's got the progress sheet that your child gets to put the B stickers on. And then this is the phonograms level. You're going to see which one your child masters. So for example, B as in ball. Do they know that sound? Whereas A has 3 different sounds, right? A, and I don't know them all. But anyway, has 3 different sounds. And so if they haven't mastered a sound, then, well, that's where you'll start, right? So you'll learn which sounds they know, which sounds they don't know. And just to give you an idea as to where to begin. Now, as a reference, if you are like me, and in case you can't tell, there's a lot of subjects that are not my strength. And one of them, for some odd reason, I'm a voracious reader, but yet saying these different sounds, like ah is in apple or whatever, A is in, I don't know. If you have trouble figuring out how to exactly pronounce the sounds, there's a free app from All About Reading, and they'll pronounce it for you. So then you just hit A. So that's what I do with my son when we're doing the reading, is I hit it and press it. So let me show you a sample lesson. This is the front of the flashcard. Show this side to your student, and this is the back of the flashcard. What I love is that it gives you A as in apple, A as in acorn, and A as in water. Okay, so maybe I just don't find spelling that easy. That could be it. Because the pronunciation seems to get me stuck a lot of times. Okay, so that's about it. It's basically what you're going to do. So let's see. So you determine which ones need to be taught. You've determined that. You keep track of the phonograms that you have learned. Now to teach the phonogram, you show them the phonogram card, you say the sound or sounds, and you have your student repeat the sound or sound. Now on the screen, I'm going to show you the spelling you see. Again, spelling you see is a little pricey. All right, so here is a sample of a lesson. Choose the correct vowel. Build the word mat with the tiles using a blank red tile in place of the thing. Because they have a tile app, right? I think it's $14. I want to spell out the word map. What sound will go here? Point to the blank tile. Good, I will take out the blank tile and I will put in the A. Now do pet. Now it's your turn, spell the word pet. All right, so you're gonna go through and you're gonna do it for lid, for ham, for all these different things. All right, so there you go. That's kind of a preview of All About Spelling. I think I'm gonna switch to spelling you see. Okay, so let's talk about some other things right now. Let's talk about grammar. An interesting way, I left it upstairs, but walk with me. An interesting way to teach the grammar rules is what Classical Conversations does. Classical Conversations, it does a ton of memory work for a variety of different subjects. So one of the subjects is English, and you go over the grammar rules. So now there's 3 different cycles if you want it to be in community with other people. But if you do it by yourself, you can do any cycle you want. But so you start with, here's that book. So you start with cycle 1. And cycle 1, week 1, every day you listen to the week 1 information. This starts when they're really little, and you go over it year after year after year, right? So just so that in 5, 6, 7 years, they don't have to work hard at learning a new skill and memorizing different grammar rules. So for example, this is the book. You don't have to get the book. I just bought the book used. Just using it to show you what all right. So cycle 1, week 1. The audio that you have, it's an app you download. You can do with pictures or you can do it without pictures. And the app, we just listen to the app in the car. Mainly because the history, I love the history songs. They're amazing. But anyway, besides that, you get the English rule that you're learning this week is a preposition relates to a noun or pronoun, relates a noun or pronoun to another word. You are not learning what this is in kindergarten. You are just memorizing it this week. And then week 2, prepositions, about, above, across, after, against. Okay, so these are, again, it's $9 for each cycle for the app. And so then week 3, the prepositions, along, amid, among, around, at, and atop. Prepositions. Prepositions, along, amid, among, around, at, and atop. That way when they go to learn about prepositions when they're older, they won't have to know, like the rules will come to them, supposedly, and I mean, I guess they've done studies on it, will come to them so that they don't have to work as hard. So that's something you can add in as well. $9 each cycle, and it does the math rules, it does skip counting, it does a lot of great stuff. So a lot of cool stuff. I really like the apps. Okay, so let's talk about vocabulary. One of my favorite curriculums is Torchlight. Now, Torchlight is secular. What that means for the particular year that I am talking about is not that you will read something that is offensive to you if you're Christian. It just means that there's no God in there. So some stuff when I read it, I'm like, this would be offensive if someone were Christian. Not in the Torchlight, I mean in general in the curriculums. But not in the Torchlight. I haven't found anything that's quote unquote offensive. Now, what I love about the Torchlight curriculum is not that it teaches you how to read, doesn't teach you to read, doesn't teach you to write. In fact, it expects you to write when you're doing the program. But I mean, that's easily, like you can write the answers for your kid if they're not at the writing level. But what I like about it is the vocabulary. So I'm going to put a bit of it, I also like, there's other things I like about it too. The book lists are amazing. You can get the book lists for free. The problem with the book lists is that even new, it's hard to find the books. Some of them that I am able to find, they're they're just amazing books. They're great books to read with your kids. Some, again, I can't find. And so that is frustrating because of how great some of the other books are. You want these other books to be available and they're not. The program itself is $20. So was it $20? I think it's $20. Very inexpensive. Not only that, it has some activities that are very cool. One for creativity, which may offend some Christians. I'm not sure, but I'll tell you what it is and you decide for yourself. It is you're building a civilization. So every week it's like, hey, let's choose a god to rule this civilization. Because remember, we're talking like years and years and years ago. Okay, so when they had God of Fire sometimes, so if that offends you, you do not have to do that part or you don't have to look at the curriculum at all. And then it goes on and it's, okay, where are you guys gonna live? So every week you're building a civilization, which for creativity I think is very cool. The questions that they ask, because there are other programs I have looked at, like Blossom and Root, their language arts program, I've looked at that. So there are other language arts programs that I've looked at and that we have, but the questions that they have for their reading to ask the student, I forget what they're called, but there's a whole bunch of them. And for the books they recommend and the questions to ask and the dialogue to have with your child is really, really good. It's the best I've found. I think it's great. But so there is that. So that for vocabulary, I love. And for literacy, for reading, I love that. But it's not a comprehensive program. It's for literacy. So it doesn't cover, math. It doesn't cover science. It doesn't cover any of these things. Okay, so there's that program. Another thing Torchlight does that's kind of cool is that you're decoding some of the stuff. This girl is writing letters to, I forget to who, or maybe it's journal entries, and you're decoding some of her journal entries based on like some sandstone stuff. I just think it's kind of cool. So that is very cool and very interesting. But again, not a full curriculum, just for literacy. Let's talk about, pre-reading. Yesterday I did a video on the pre-reading, the all about reading pre-reading, which actually made me really like it again, but you don't need it. Again, you don't need it. It's just making sure that they know that letters have a first name and they have a last name, and the first name is their name and the last name is their sound. So for the kindergarten age, to get them ready for reading. Now, my all about reading stuff is currently in my luggage, which is due to arrive, fingers crossed, finally today. That was a mistake I'll never make again. But it is coming home. So I'll give you another tour of that next time, because there are other programs, but there's one more program I want to talk to you. If you want a comprehensive program, comprehensive, like all in one, there's a couple different programs that I like that you can do. One of them is The Good and the Beautiful. The Good and the Beautiful, it's free if you have a printer, which is why I want to tell you about the Eco Tank, because it's free and it's a beautiful curriculum. The books are free. I mean, everything's free. You can print them all off. I think if you had a binding machine, boy, would you be set. My parents have a binding machine at their office, and I just love it. I love it. So there you go. The Good and the Beautiful. I'm putting it on the screen. You can take a preview of it. And another is, I really like the Foundations of Logic. I like the program, and it's comprehensive. It's just expensive, but you can break it down and just get one piece. It's like $145 just for the starting level, and you got to go all the way to G, for heaven's sake. So it's pricey, but it does cover reading, writing, spelling. It covers everything, but you can just get the teacher's manual and one of the books, and so not get the writing portion, the cursive portion, or any of those things, and just go with that. A lot of times when you buy a curriculum and it's cheaper, you think, oh, this is great. It's because it doesn't come with a lot of the books, but I'll tell you about that in any curriculum I review. So there you go. I think we went through quite a few things today. Let's see, did I miss anything? I don't know. I don't think so. Oh, the Good and the Beautiful is very Christian, so if you are secular, you may want to avoid that one, only because it's mixed in. Like some people prefer if they have the Christianity part or the portions about God over here, in a box. Like Campfire Curriculums does that in a box, so that I can go and read that box separately, instead of having it all mixed in, because then it's confusing to me. It's just confusing to me. But that's why I don't have a comprehensive language arts program like you're seeing on the screen. That's why I decided to split it up and do the handwriting with the handwriting books, the literacy, mainly because I couldn't resist it, with the Torchlight, which is generally, mostly women, girls do the Torchlight curriculum, but we have boys, and I did it, and it works out fine. So, either way, it's good to go. And I think, like I said, I think I'm gonna do Spelling UC, although is Spelling UC $45? Pretty expensive. Pretty expensive if you ask me, and you got a couple kids that's gotta go through it, a few kids. And they don't, I wish they had PDFs, that I could get the PDFs. Same with Logic of English. Like, why don't you have PDFs, Logic of English? Like, why? So that I could download them at a reduced price. Why do you gotta send me a whole box of stuff? All right, well, there you go. That's what I'm talking about today. So if you have any curriculum you'd like me to take a look at, or that you love, let me know so I can take a look at it. Thank you. Have a great day. You say, please like and subscribe.
Hey, why do I?
And hit the bell for notifications.
The bell, you know, that